get real-time Secretary of State data. So we offer real-time, as in whatever reflects on the Secretary of State, we are going to have it for you. We can even get screenshots. So that data will be there available as screenshots, documents where it's available, officers where it's available. We're gonna get all the data that you can get from the Secretary of State. We can get it. We have integrations into all 51 states. And when a business registers, when they start, they have to register their business. And the Secretary of State tracks things, especially, this is what most people want, is things like the status, like is the business in good standing? And this is to help them assess risk. The big things they're looking for are fraud. Is this business real or is it not real? We went through and we did a research project where we wanted to find all the different statuses that exist with the Secretary of State. We found 402 different statuses in all 50 states. This is kind of a big deal. Let's say that you, as the savvy commercial underwriter you are underwriting a business for a commercial loan, and you see the status come back from the Secretary of State as suspended. What does that mean? Is that a concern? Should you hold off on this loan when everything else looks great? Well, we're going to talk about this more in this video. So it's really important that you understand the different statuses that each Secretary of State provides and what they mean. Today, we're going to walk through the statuses specific to a certain state. Missouri's 13 business entity statuses you need to know. Number 1, fictitious expired. The registration for a fictitious name, often used for doing business as or DBA names, has expired and is no longer valid until renewed. Lenders should be cautious as this status may indicate poor administrative practices or financial difficulties, potentially impacting the business's ability to operate legally under that name and affecting its creditworthiness. Now let's proceed to number 2, canceled. The business entity or fictitious name registration has been officially canceled, either by administrative action or voluntarily by the entity itself. This status suggests the business is no longer operational, presenting a high risk for lenders and indicating a need for thorough investigation before considering any lending activities. Number 3, voluntarily dissolved. The business entity has chosen to dissolve legally and cease operations through a voluntary process initiated by its owners or shareholders. Lenders should be aware that this status signifies the end of the business's operations, making it an extremely high-risk prospect for lending and likely ineligible for most financial products. Now let's proceed to number 4, term cancel. Indicates that the business entity's registration or authority has been terminated or canceled, often referring to foreign entities that no longer have the right to operate in Missouri. This status suggests a significant change in the business's legal standing and operational capacity, presenting substantial risks for lenders and requiring careful evaluation of any outstanding obligations. Number 5, active. The business entity is registered and in good standing, actively operating and compliant with all required filings and regulations. This status generally indicates a lower risk for lenders, as it suggests the business is meeting its legal obligations and maintaining operational stability, though further financial assessment is still necessary. Number 6, admin dis, cancel, report. The business entity was administratively dissolved, or its registration was canceled due to failure to file required annual reports. This status raises concerns about the business's administrative practices and potentially its financial health, indicating a higher risk for lenders and necessitating thorough due diligence before considering any lending activities. Number 7, fictitious active. The fictitious name DBA is currently active and properly registered, allowing the business to operate under that name legally. While this status indicates compliance with name registration requirements, lenders should note that it doesn't necessarily reflect the overall financial health or operational status of the business, requiring further investigation. Let's proceed to number 8, admin dis, cancel, agent. The business entity was administratively dissolved or canceled because it failed to maintain a registered agent as required by law. This status suggests potential administrative negligence or financial difficulties, presenting increased risk for lenders and indicating a need for careful assessment of the business's current operational status and financial stability. Number 9, good standing. The business entity is compliant with all state requirements and has no outstanding administrative issues, making it legally authorized to conduct business. This status generally indicates a lower risk for lenders, as it suggests the business is meeting its legal and administrative obligations, though a comprehensive financial assessment is still necessary for lending decisions. Now let's proceed to number 10, forfeited. The business entity has lost its good standing due to non-compliance with state requirements, such as failing to file reports or pay fees. This status raises significant concerns about the business's administrative practices and potentially its financial health, indicating a higher risk for lenders and necessitating thorough due diligence before considering any lending activities. Number 11, inactive merged. The business entity is no longer active because it has merged with another entity and its separate legal existence has ceased. Lenders should be aware that while the business itself no longer exists independently, its obligations may have transferred to the new entity, requiring careful investigation of the merger terms and the surviving entity's financial status before making lending decisions. Now let's proceed to number 12, dissolve nonprofit. A nonprofit entity has been formally dissolved, either voluntarily by its board or involuntarily by the state due to non-compliance with legal requirements. This status indicates the end of the nonprofit's operations, presenting a high risk for lenders and likely making the entity ineligible for most financial products, though careful consideration of any remaining assets or obligations may be necessary. Number 13, withdrawn. The business entity, typically a foreign entity, has withdrawn its registration to operate in Missouri, ceasing its business activities in the state. This status suggests a significant change in the business's operations within Missouri, presenting substantial risks for lenders and requiring careful evaluation of any outstanding obligations or assets within the state before considering any lending activities. All right, let's look at an example if we wanted to do something like this and kind of how Cobalt Intelligence can help you with this. This right here is an example using this API. Now, Cobalt Intelligence is an API first, where the idea is that you can get all this data via API and get it integrated right into your system. Let's say you search for this business, 109 Franklin RC in California. So we're gonna hit send, and this is what we get back. Now, the status is suspended FTB, and this right here, specifically for California, is the Franchise Tax Board, which means it's delinquent with its taxes in California. Not enough to be terminated, but enough to put it in suspension. So this is somewhat of a risk here. Now, this could be hard to go through because, like we said, there's 402 different statuses out there. So what you can do is use this normalized status, where we go through and interpret these things, and we mark it as inactive. And we're gonna put those as two different options. It's either going to be active or it's going to be inactive. And so then you can programmatically, as you integrate this into your API and as this is processing through your software, you're going to get a feedback that says, hey, this business is active or inactive and may prompt further note. So it can kind of take it down certain paths. Now, if I was building this, I would use that as, like I said, a programmatic decision maker and put it in the this needs questioning right here. If it's inactive, I'm going to automatically put this in stipulations where someone's going to have to go and follow up further. And then you could display this string of suspended FTB, and then your underwriters could go through and check it and say, okay, this is something we need to dig further into, and this, or maybe not, or maybe we just decline the file altogether. I hope this has been helpful for you to see how these different statuses in the state can really vary and how it can be different for you and impact your business. I invite you to try the Secretary of State API. We have a free trial that it comes with, so you can go ahead and try it out. We also offer paid pilots, so you can try out a big number of searches and see really if the data is something that can be helpful for you. I'm Jordan Hansen. If this has been helpful at all, hit that like and subscribe button. We will help you out with what you're trying to do. Thank you.